myself comfortable. All right, objects in mirrors not as big as they appear, please. Alrighty, so hey, oh, getting myself comfy here. Good Saturday morning to you. Is your Saturday looking a little bit gray and not as hot? I know mine is. It's funny. It's kind of quiet because there's not a lot of traffic going by. And also, being gray out, it's just one of those mornings that I feel like if I didn't kind of have to get out of bed, which I mean have to, this is good that I scheduled this TikTok live, but that I might just stay there cuddled up and scrolling on TikTok like I was before I hopped out of bed and got some clothes on. But hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. 8 a.m. Not too bad. Nice and quiet. It's funny. I'm going to be quiet for just a smidge because German Maid 95 said they liked hearing the birds. So I don't know if you can hear the birds behind me, but we do have birds. And then, of course, we have cars. But hey, Beth, Destination Declutter, Decluttering Life Coach, as you may know, as you may not know. But here I am. I do these TikTok lives. And I don't know. Let me a little bit of contrast for my oh, it said lost connection. Hopefully it's going to find the connection. Good connection. Love connection. We've got a love connection. So good morning. What do I got? What do I have to share right now? I'm using my extra big mug. I bought this kind of by accident. I make these mugs for me, like inspirational mugs for myself. Was live your life like a road trip. That's one of my mantras. And I was ordering it quick online, and I ordered the wrong size, so I feel like a little kid with like the, it's like, ooh, look, I feel like a Kilroy. But I'm here for you this morning. Enough about me. I'm sure we'll get to plenty about me throughout the conversation. But I am a decluttering life coach on a Saturday where usually I would be like, oh, gotta clean the garage. Now, yesterday we did tidy up the garage because we had some projects we worked on. And we have friends coming over. Now, trust me, our friends don't care what our garage look like, but I will share this with you. Oh, there we go. That one persona currently cleaning in the basement. I may be hanging out. I may be doing some basement stuff today, too. I will share with you. It is very weird for me to, after being a cluttered person for so long, to realize how much free time I have now because I'm not always having to deal with my clutter. It's really crazy. When you're so used to every free moment being like, well, I should probably do this, and well, I should probably do that. I think I might spend some time today decluttering my family history. And what do I mean by that? I have saved some certain things. So when I talk about stuff that you have in your house, stuff that clutters up your house, we talk about surface, stored, and sentimental. And under the sentimental is going to be stuff from like your genealogy. Now, I tend to be the person in our family who is the person who keeps track of that stuff, and I know I have a box or two down the basement, and I realized I want to make sure all of that is somewhat stored somewhere digitally, so I may work on that today, but it is really interesting and kind of cool to realize, even if I just wanted to honestly just flop down on a couch, read a book, fall asleep, wake up, read a book, get a snack, chill out, I could do that and not feel guilty because I wasn't decluttering or tidying up my home because my house is already tidy. So I just kind of plant that seed to be like, if you're feeling like you're just spending all of your free time, your precious free time, decluttering and feeling like you have to and it can change. You can change that. Okay. So, yeah. So just something I'm observing from my own life because I've spent my entire life. I mean, I look back to when I was a little kid. It'd be a Saturday, and my parents were like, "Nope, can't go out of the house until until you do your chores." My God, did I hate vacuuming? I hated how like we had like Oriental rugs and so it was always like hardwood floor Oriental rug, and the little spinny thing in the Electrolux would always jam up. It would eat the corners of the rugs. I'd have to do that. Doing the stairs. Even to this day, when my husband and I do our, our own chores around the house, I am like, could you just please do the vacuuming? Now, once I do it though, once I start something, and maybe this might help you too. Once I get started, it's not that bad. I actually like seeing the before and afters and all that type of thing. Sometimes getting started in something is the hardest part. So finding a way to get started, finding a way, learning a way, testing out, experimenting ways to get started on something, learning about what works for you and what doesn't. You know, if somebody yells at me to do something, I will do two things. I will be on like both sides of the rainbow. I will cry, and then I'll get pissed off and I'll dig in my heels. Or I'll do it in fear and crap mode. I don't like that, so I don't coach like that. I don't show up in that. I find there are many ways to motivate yourself and motivate other people. And I motivate myself with kindness, curiosity, love, chill. Like, I don't know. It's good stuff. So, how can I help you this morning? You know what? Here's a funny thing. I will share stories about myself if I feel like it will help somebody else. But I'm not here to brag or to be like, look at how great my life is. I mean, I freaking love my life. I could cry at how awesome my life is. But I'm not here to brag. And it's a very simple, wonderful life. But I love it. Maybe that will help you realize that maybe I got something. I have figured out some stuff in my it's so funny. I am adding years to my life. In my 50 plus years, we'll say that, on the planet, I have learned some stuff and I want to share it with you. And decluttering is something about it. You know what decluttering does to me? Maybe this will help you. Is decluttering really gives you the opportunity to pay attention to what is important to you. And I don't mean important with a capital I. We all live in a capital I. Something, something, something in the middle of the desert, in the center of the sky. Google it. I got my morning voice and I'm not a good singer anyway. I believe that was Sesame Street. Capital I, you know? There we go. So that one persona, really great observation. I wasn't taught to clean and declutter. I kind of wasn't either. I mean, I was in a certain way that it was not long lasting. I learned myself how to do it. I could decorate a room like nobody's business. I was always making like forts and stuff. But as far as dealing with clutter, that's a different thing. So yeah, you're right. How do I teach my 4-year-old as they grow up? That one persona, I love that you're looking and wanting to change the dynamic for the younger generation. Start with yourself, okay? Learn a system to clean and declutter yourself. There are a ton of videos that I've done here on TikTok. I have a mailing list. We do a monthly Zoom. You can ask questions there. I do one-on-one coaching. I do. I coach people on Zoom. I don't want this to turn into an infomercial, but I want to info and less mercial. And just saying that you can learn a way that's working for you. And we don't just learn stuff when somebody's like, I'm going to sit down and show you how to create. I remember my grandmother trying to show us how to make a bed and do like hospital corners. Crazy thing is, like when you fold the sheets at the end of the mattress, crazy thing is when I was up early this morning, because I wake up early because it gets bright out, I was scrolling on TikTok and literally there was a TikTok about how to make hospital corners. Many times we learn things by observation, by listening to people, by observing what they do, by noticing what feels good and what doesn't feel good. They said back in the day, like little pitchers have big ears is like this random, statement about kids. So I share this with you and I share this with everybody. Decluttering is a skill. It can be learned. There's no mystery about it. The way I coach it, there is a process behind it. And this is not just a skill, it is a life skill. So I love that you want to teach your 4-year-old, but the best way you can teach them, because how can you teach somebody something that you don't know how to do yourself? That's why I have compassion and love for my mother and my father in the way that our house looked and felt and functioned when I was growing up, because they were doing the best they can with what they had. My mother grew up, she was the oldest of 7. They didn't have a lot of money, so she was busy taking care of her siblings. Her mother probably was too busy taking care of her kids that, their house was not in the greatest of shape. My dad, being, a patriarchy that we live in, and I love him, even though he's passed, my dad was the only son in a gaggle of women. I had, like, God, how many aunts, great aunts, and my grandmother? And so he never even had to learn it because he was a boy, and the women just take care of the boys. I get where I came from, but then I look at where I am now, and it's like, what do I struggle with clutter-wise? What did I struggle with clutter-wise? For me, it would have been like clothes on the floor, piles of paper that I didn't want to deal with, collecting up stuff. And the fun part was collecting, but then being like, oh, what do I do with it now that I have it in my house? It was the quantity of too many things. Anytime I would see something in like orange or lime green or, like aqua blue, buying it even if I didn't need it. How many spatulas do I really need? When I started to pay attention to how my clutter showed up, I trial and error. I started figuring out things that worked for me. That's how I help my clients. But it's like I deal with it like we are all wired differently. I have ADHD in my family. I know many of my clients do. Some of them don't. It's all good. Finding a process, figuring out where your gaps in knowledge are. There's no judgment. But knowing that it is a process, noticing that there is an easy, simple system that you can use, and it has nothing to do with buying clear containers and folding your towels a certain way. It has to do with what's going on in your head and how that makes you feel in your heart, and what you do with that info moves your hands. It's kind of like a machine, because if the head and the heart are not in synchronicity, if they're not synchronized, you're probably sitting there doing nothing. That's okay. That's all right. Learning that is kind of an eye-opener. When you don't feel like doing something, notice that. It's like, well, I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. Even your body language, even your body language can be like, yeah, I don't feel like doing that, But why don't you feel like doing that? What is that? That is something you told yourself you should do. Really should do that. How about you want to do it? I just had both Mayor Quimby from what is it, The Family Guy, and because I'm from Boston, so I have like a New England accent, and also Cheap Trick go through my head, because I was like, I want you to want me. Hey, good morning, Irish Pink, nice to see you. I want you to want to declutter. I can't coach anybody. I'm not here to be like, I can't coach you, but notice that unless you want to do it, you're not going to do it. Unless you want to change your thinking and feeling and acting about clutter, you're not going to do it. And that is totally up to you. I find that I need to know what's in it for me before I do something. If I see a benefit to me, or I see why, a reason that makes sense to me in my head and my heart, I am going to be like, yeah, whatever, dude, So I say to you, because each one of us has the little kind of stirrings in your heart, what would make you want to? What touches your soul with it? It's always Halloween in my soul. What makes you want to, not have to, declutter? Maybe you want to, like, as somebody said up front, I'm really bad with names. I apologize. And speaking of names, there's now double the people that there were here when I first started. Hey, my name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach, and my coaching is called Destination Decluttered. On here, TikTok, on YouTube when this is archived, on DestinationDecluttered.com website, yada, yada. Okay, nice to meet you. What's going to make you want to declutter? How about, I don't know, you tell me, but it's got to have some meat on the bones. Even if you're a vegetarian, it's got to be a juicy carrot. You've got to want to do it in a way that feels meaningful to you. It has meaning. It feels like you want to do it. How about, honestly, I will share with you, living in a decluttered home is just freaking easier than living in a cluttered home. Easy, simple. You look for something, you find it. You find it, you use it, it works well. You put it away, you find it again. You're not scrambling around. You're not losing things. You're not missing payments. You're not, having to go out and buy duplicates of things. You know where things are, and it's just easy. It takes a shorter amount of time to do things and less stress on your nervous system. Now, that's kind of cerebral ways of thinking about it, but it's true. You also have so much more free time when you have a decluttered house. Like, seriously, this afternoon, I have this entire afternoon wide open, even this evening, and I'm like, whoa, what can I do with this? Now, before, I used to drive around and gather up clutter for my house. Now I'm like, oh, maybe I'll go through the stuff I have and enjoy it. There we go. I want space and a peaceful space. Yes, Candle Mail Candace, I love that you said a peaceful space, because here's something. When I work with my clients, the very first thing we do on very first coaching call is to define your destination. Now, it has been lovely. This weather has been lovely, but usually if I'm doing a TikTok live or my coaching, it's in my office, and I have this little thing behind me that's like a heart on one side, a car on the, or map pin on the other, and some dots between it with a car on it, like a road trip. So imagine this. You are here. You're at that pin in the map on the Jersey Turnpike when you pull over to go to the bathroom, and they have that giant map. You are here. You got here by many roads, but we are all here right now, listening to and creating a podcast, I guess, of clutter, about decluttering. So you got here, and you maybe have some clutter. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? And that's your destination. Now, what does that even mean? Well, think about how you want your home to look. That's a nice kind of superficial, surface way of thinking it. How do you want it to look? And then write that down. Even right now, when I'm doing this TikTok live, you could mute me. You could watch the recording later when I upload it. It will be public in July. June ones are still reserved for people on the mailing list. How do you want your home to look? Number 2 is, if you're writing this down, how do you want your home to function? Now, I hit upon that like a second ago when I talked about easy peasy easy. Easy to find things, easy to use them, easy to put them away. That goes for stuff in your drawers, like, silverware and kitchen gadgets, toiletries, clothing, paper, any kind of thing that you have stored clutter is functionality. But the most important one, and this is why I am a decluttering life coach, not just a decluttering coach. I'm a certified life coach. And I got my certification because I quickly realized how, when I started coaching people, how much of the clutter isn't about the surface and it isn't about the storage. Oh, if I only had enough storage. No, it's about how you feel. So let me ask you this. How do you want to feel? Here's the thing. Candle Mail Candace refined this. I want space. So space is a thing. It's something that can be measured. But I want a peaceful space. I want to feel peace when I'm in my home. I want to feel quiet. So instead of hearing the chatter, chit, pa, 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 the constant stream of, chatter from the back seat, I can quiet down my brain, and I can listen to the birds. And it feels good. Yeah. Hey, Abbott Elementary, I love this. Abbott Elementary, client of mine, not having any desire to acquire is freeing. That is such a good one. That is such a good one. The desire to acquire. You know me. I'm all about alliteration and rhymes and things that make it easy for your brain to remember these things. Yes. Yeah, sometimes you listen to the birds. Other times you listen to jerks who are being too loud in the morning. The desire to acquire. I love that because, yes, years ago, even within the last 10 years, it's Saturday morning, I would have been out in my car. I would have been going to thrift stores. I would have been going to yard sales. I would have been going probably trash picking. I would have been going to like a flea market. I would have been going to antique malls. I had that desire to acquire. And notice even my hands, when I'm saying acquire, it's like bringing it into my life. Why was I doing that? Because I felt the lack of something. I needed something external to make me feel whole. It worked for a while until I realized it didn't work. And then it was like I was stuck with all this stuff in my house, and I still felt a little bit of lack of something. It wasn't until I realized it had nothing to do with the external stuff, and it had to do a lot more with how I was feeling, that's when I could slow down the desire to acquire. I could release the items in my house that I didn't need, and I started to just feel better in general. That's why I do the decluttering. Yeah. And notice desire. It's a song by, who is it, Gene Loves Jezebel. It's a feeling in you, but maybe you're not desiring. I desired ever since I saw it in high school, maybe, like Fiesta wear. I loved the colors. I thought they were so cool. I thought it was so neat. And people I saw back in the 80s who had it were kind of funky people, because it wasn't the stuff that you typically collected, at least not where I lived. So it was like, oh, cool people have cool stuff. Maybe I can turn myself into a cool person by buying cool things. Now, it kind of worked, but I'm also a cool person anyway. But, it was one of these, look at how cool my stuff is. Maybe you'll think I'm cool too. All right, so serious craft and skills is saying, so I struggle with my office. I gotcha. I'm organized everywhere, but there I can't seem to figure it out. Okay, so let's talk about that. First of all, you can figure it out. So don't tell yourself you can't, because if you can't, you're just going to stop. Like, it's a non-starter. So get curious about it. Now, one thing I want to mention to you is that there is a process. So I am doing, this is not meant to, again, I try to be really obvious when I feel like I'm kind of, I never want you to think I'm sleazily shifting into like Ron Popeil mode or whatever. Tomorrow, Sunday, people on the mailing list, destinationdecluttered.com/join if you want to join it. 2 o'clock in the afternoon to 3 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time. We are getting together and having what we're calling I almost said a pencil party. I always want to call it pencil party. A paper party. That is sitting in your office, I will be in mine, and going through a stack of papers. So get together a stack of papers. And show up at this free Zoom we're doing. I have a process that I can show you that is so easy. I mean, here it is basically. You've got a couple of categories. You get stuff that's unorganized. You organize it into a couple of simple categories, and then based on that category, you do something with it. But notice that even to get you to sign up for that, it's free now. I may charge a little pittance later, but even to get yourself to go into your office may be a big thing. And you know why? It's because you have a thought in your head that makes you feel a feeling that makes you not even want to deal with that. So notice that you have the ability to do things. If you're organized everywhere else, you can be organized in your office. So let's figure out the thought and the feeling that's stopping you from being organized there. And it can be anything. It's cool. No judgment. But if you're not curious, you're never going to learn anything about yourself or the world you live in. And you're going to, I don't know, I don't want to die before I live. I want to be on my deathbed knowing that I made an awesome life. And I also want to live that awesome life right now. I don't want to deny myself now and say, oh, in another life, I guess after I die and I go to heaven. I want to create my version of heaven right here on earth. And you know what? You're in it right now. I've got this little, 10-foot by 15-foot patio, my fake plants, my, chairs I bought right before Bed Bath & Beyond closed down, literally like a week before. I don't even want to get into it. But you know what? Create heaven on earth for yourself before you die. Okay? And if you need help getting your office organized, I can help you with that. I am good like this. This is why I turned into a coach. I said to myself when I quit my job to write books about road tripping, because I'm really good at that too. What is something I'm good at that I enjoy doing that helps other people? Declutter. That's me. Okay? So the struggle with the money of it. Yes, donating brand new clothes that don't fit. So Candle Mail Candace, no judgment, because the money thing, you guys, I am fascinated by how our thoughts about money affect our money in our lives. I say this from I had issues with money, not issues. I had thoughts about money and donating. But what I want to ask you, first of all, is if it's brand new and it doesn't fit, why do you have it? Do you want to fit into it? Why did you buy it if it didn't fit? And again, notice I could say these things with judgment in my voice. Why did you buy that? It doesn't fit. Why'd you spend so much money on that? Notice a tone and energy change can shut you down. So I'm not asking these questions accusingly. I am asking them with love in my heart to help you with what you're struggling with. And saying, yeah, so what's up with this pair of whatever, pair of pants that you bought money, they're brand new, they don't fit, and you want to return them or, donate them. Notice that desire to acquire. Was it aspirational? Were you hoping to fit into them? Did you think buying those pants and wearing them would make you feel cool? I don't know. I've done it. I'm going to, look at me. I'm going to wear the stuff. It's okay. Let me help you too. Everybody here. This has happened in my past. It has happened in yours. You have purchased an item in your life that has not worked out the way you hoped. Hanging on to the thing that doesn't work out does not make it work for you. The sooner you realize it doesn't work for you and the sooner you remove it from your life, the easier and more peaceful your life will be, because it won't be there nagging at you. The pants that don't fit, the unfinished project, the stack of paperwork. When you realize that you don't want those in your life and you can do something about them and you like the decision you're making, that's when it feels really cool and peaceful. Okay? Yeah. There we go. Okay, yeah, Kitsy Young. So thank you, Abbott Elementary, for the desire to acquire. Yeah, the desire to acquire because I felt lack completely. And here's just really quickly. I'm going to put my cup down. I seriously have this is balancing on the top of a styrofoam cooler, so I have to be very careful with this. It's a high-tech organization here, people. Use what you have. I don't need to buy something fancy. Anyhow, when we feel lack, notice where I'm doing this. If any time you're going to look at the camera now, maybe you're puttering around, notice where I'm using my body language to illustrate this point, because I bet you feel this too. When you feel lack, think of your stomach being hungry, okay? Think of I don't have it. I don't have the things I need in order to thrive as the person I am. So lack totally makes us want things. I am hungry. I have lack of food. I want to eat. Once you start to get those things in your life, you're like, oh, this feels better. I feel better if I'm hungry. I feel better if I eat. But sometimes what we have been taught and we observe for many reasons is we don't get in touch with our set point, our natural, like, okay, that feels good, I'm going to stop now. Some people do. I don't. With eating, with drinking, for a while there, with decluttering. So sometimes you don't realize you bypass your just right feeling and you get into too much. Clutter is the stuff that's in between your just right and too much. That's when you feel stuffed, overwhelmed, can't breathe, suffocating, drowning, all this stuff that's like above, right? When you're trying to get away from that, you think, oh, if this feels more is better type of thing, until it isn't. This is what clutter is. Clutter is the stuff that you're like, oh, I thought all this stuff would make me feel good. It doesn't. What will feel good is to decide what you don't need and to slowly, in a way that feels good to you, decrease the amount of stuff, paying attention to when you get close to that just right period. We did this with the garage yesterday. I even yesterday took some stuff to the Goodwill because I was like, you know what? I think that's a cute little, pink flower pot, but I am not going to plant anything in it because I am not around long enough to do plants. So think about lack, just right. It's like, think of, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Everything was too hot, too cold, just right. What's your just right feeling? And that's up to you. Okay. Yep, Marlsey Webb says, I'm in the process of cleaning out my deceased father's house. He loved yard sales and flea markets. Yeah, my dad loved collecting stuff too. So does my whole family. It's what we did. People who were born, and I don't know about your age, but think about the lack. Think about people who were born affected by or growing up in the actual legit depression in the 20s and 30s, where they seriously did have a lack. And then they went into war. That was also lack. Food rationing, all that. They show animals when they are denied food, they will hoard it because you are fearful of not surviving as a human. Now, I will say, and I'm laughing at myself because I think of something I have kind of hoarded in my living room, in our living room. You've seen probably in some of my videos. I have a collection of over 100 and plus little plastic snow domes from like traveling in the 80s and 90s. I didn't really have a lack of them, but that desire to acquire, I love it. Abbott Elementary, thank you for that. Notice that lack can drive you to acquire, and then we are reinforced all over the place to buy the big thing, buy more, more, more. How do you like it? Walk-in closets, buying all the stuff. That shows you have status. Look at me. Look at my money. Look what I did. I am a success. I have this fancy purse. I have 14 fancy purses. It's the society. I mean, you're on TikTok. I'm on TikTok. I see these things. So you're not alone. The people that raised us also struggle with these things. But I will say this, one of the things I notice is that there's a certain generation, maybe it's you and me because we're here on TikTok, we want to figure this stuff out. We are of a growth mindset, as we would say in the coaching biz, not a fixed mindset. Not, oh well, that's the way it is. Some people are afraid to look inside and see what makes them tick. I say when you look inside and makes them tick, you know what works for you and what doesn't. You can increase the amount of what works for you and decrease the amount that doesn't. It's kind of awesome. But if, some people don't want to do it. Okay. Yes. All right, here we go. I'm backing up from some of these because I tend to talk. This is why I'm going to do a podcast, because I like to get in deep, but I also want to make sure that it doesn't look like I'm ignoring your questions. So this should be a bit of an interplay, but I tend to go deep. This is how I coach, because that's where, as they said in Wayne's World, that's where the magic happens. Okay? Now, I love this because user 616440 is saying, working on surface clutter while listening. Thanks for the inspiration and motivation. You're welcome, and totally. You guys, seriously, you don't need to, with very few exceptions, you will need to look at the screen while I'm doing a TikTok live. As I said, with the the kind of top to bottom, opposites, left to right, things like that. But ideally, I describe those with my words so you can go, and please do. I'm going to be on for the next 28 minutes. Then I'm going to live my awesome life. I am living it right now by hanging out with you. But put the phone down, put it in your earbuds, listen to me, and then go clear some clutter off of your surfaces. Simple stuff, not stuff that's going to take your brain, but things that just need to go back home where they belong. Trash in the trash, recycles in the recycles, laundry, dishes. Put them one step closer to where they need to be in this next half hour. Then you can be like, check me out. It's not even 9 o'clock in the morning, East Coast time, and I've already did some decluttering on a Saturday. I rock. Okay. There we go. Katie says, Katie S. Kolk, I went through a stack of papers last night. Awesome. Threw away so much. Awesome. It felt so great. Awesome. Remember that meme with the kid? Awesome. Good, Katie. Yeah. Yep. Cat Mama's going through it with her mom's stuff. Yeah. This is the thing. Again, I think of the generations. I was an art history major, so I tend to look at things from a broader lens. I see myself in the middle of a sandwich, a really tasty sandwich. On one end is my parents and grandparents and all the people that came before me. Then there's me. And then there's the bottom, burger bun, or the other side, which is my nieces and nephews. We don't have kids. Nieces and nephews and other generations. So notice that you may be dealing with somebody else's stuff that's not even yours because they didn't want to deal with their clutter. I don't know who you have in your next generations. Do you want to be that person to somebody else? Do you want somebody else to have to go through your stuff and spend their time doing it? I don't. I don't want to. I have already done that with one parent. I'm gonna have to do it with my mother. I'm already working on it right now with her. Don't be that person to somebody else. Okay? Change stuff now. The sooner you do it, the sooner you'll feel better. The sooner you just live in a decluttered life. I wish I had done this years ago, but I choose to believe. This is a stock saying in my lexicon of my life. I choose to believe that I am doing what I'm doing at the exact right moment. I choose to believe that for whatever unknown reason, that this is the exact right time that I'm showing up on TikTok for you, that I got my poop in a scoop, that I figured out some stuff sooner rather than later. And the great news is I may not know the quantity of years ahead of me, but the quality is going to be, and already is, so good. So good. So good. Now, Jacqueline is saying, you get so much embarrassment from your desk at work. I can help with that. Again, I know paper can be a thing. I grew up in a paper-based society with people who save too many papers. I have a wicked easy system I can share with you. I'm going to get into it tomorrow, and I'm doing this free Zoom call just for the people on the mailing list. So it's free mailing list, destinationdecluttered.com/join. Sign up tomorrow. Also, frankly, somebody, again, I love it when I get ideas from other people. This is just not me coming down with my tablets and everything. It's collaboration. The desire to acquire, that was not me. That was Abbott Elementary. The idea for me to even record my TikToks and house them on YouTube so you can watch them later or listen to them later, somebody else's idea. I thought it was a good one. Somebody just yesterday, I think on the TikTok, said, hey, I can't make it to the Zoom. Are you going to record it? And I thought, is that even going to work if you don't show up live? I don't know. Maybe it will. So let's experiment. This is what coaching is too, is all big, one grand experiment. Is it going to work? I don't know. Let's try it. So if you can't make it tomorrow live and in person at 2 p.m. Eastern, from 2 to 3 to go through your clutter live with us, I'm going to record it. Then you can listen to the recording and see if that works for you. Give me feedback, and then the next time I do one of those, maybe I'll record it or not. Okay? Serious Crafting Skills is feeling overwhelmed because you craft so it's everywhere. Yeah, you can craft, but it doesn't have to be everywhere. Notice that. If crafting is good, but your organization and how you've tidied up or lack thereof, that can be changed. There we go. Oh, pencil party. So Barbara Hughes, I got to share with you. Or excuse me, Barbara, I can't pronounce your last name. I'm bad with that stuff. Talk about things you keep. I keep memories until my brain fails, and then hopefully I'll just remember some good stuff. My niece, when she was little, I remembered driving up. I would drive from Pennsylvania to New England, where I grew up in Mass. And I was talking to my sister about how I stopped at the Vince Lombardi rest area. And my niece turned to me and she was like, pencil party, Vince Lombardi, pencil party. I laughed, and so now my husband and I always call it the pencil party. So sometimes, and that was paper party, it's the alliteration, and my brain just gets its wires confused sometimes, but that's what that is. You know? Jim Girl is saying, moving, helpful tips. Here's some. Get rid of most of your stuff. Use it as the perfect opportunity to offload the stuff you don't like. How's that? Sound good? Jackie, if you're overwhelmed with your clutter, you're not alone. You can work on the overwhelm. Oh, I don't have the right mug. Everybody, before you even start to move one thing in your home, one external item, move your stress level down. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, you can breathe down, slow down, calm down, quiet down, all the downs. But you can shake it off. You can do bilateral symmetry. You can do tapping. There's so many things you can do. I like to keep it simple. I breathe, I calm, I slow, I quiet down, 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 down. When you feel better, when the anxiety and the overwhelm is less, part of what you can do too is write it down. Write down the things you want to do. It gets it out of your head and onto paper. You feel better. You see it there. Oh, it's not that bad. When you write it down, you can chunk it down. You know, oh, yesterday it was like, okay, we need to chop down the branches, chop them and put them in the bags, bring the bags to the mulch place. 3 steps, as opposed to do the branches. Chopping it down, breaking it down. You can do each one of those steps. Okay? Yeah? There we go. Okay, Candlemas Candace, see, you've got a story about your clothes. Yeah, I got it too right now. Seriously, me bending over here like this, I feel like I'm turning into like I got all these rolls because I'm in the menopause and the post-COVID, and I know I have not been exercising as much as I did, and I don't know, I'm changing, but I'm trying to love my body wherever I am. So you know what I did is I became okay with the fact that I wasn't fitting into certain clothes, and I have donated them, and I have started to buy clothes that fit me and also tend to be a little bit more wiggle room. They're just comfier. When you get to be comfortable and love yourself, no matter who you are and where you are, the need for extra extraneous things just decreases like you wouldn't believe. Okay? All right. The earlier lives for June, will you put them on YouTube? I missed them. Yeah, they should be on YouTube. Okay, Acebrook 60ACC. Let me help you with that. So, I believe they're all there. I will double check this afternoon after I get back from all my stuff. But if you're on the mailing list, you know the link to follow to get access to all the June TikTok lives. I gatekeep those for the people on the mailing list because I want you to join the mailing list, frankly, because it's a wicked lot of good stuff there. And it's free. So if you want first dibs on seeing the June TikTok lives that are housed there, just get on the mailing list. The June ones will become available publicly, like literally Monday or Tuesday, whenever the date changes. I will open that up, and then the July ones will become behind the scenes. I like to reward people who say, I'm interested in what you do. So I say, oh, thank you. Here's a gift. You get to cut in line before everybody else. You know? Pennsylvania. I love it. Pencils come from Pennsylvania. There we go. Yeah. Melissa is saying, for organization and on a low budget, the Dollar Tree has a lot of bins to organize. I love that idea, but I want to help you with this, okay? Let me just share this with you. Please, this is important. Buying, at a certain point of the process, buying more storage is not the solution. Let me repeat that. Getting more containers is not the solution to decluttering. No. Containers comes further down the line. Decluttering you can do. You don't even need you can use containers you have. You can make piles. You can use bags. You can use leftover Amazon boxes to kind of corral things. But don't start by thinking, I need to go buy some containers. Because where you start really is up here. Abbott Elementary, and I've talked about that. I know this stone cold. We think, oh, I just need to buy the perfect solution. Notice you're just buying more stuff. You're looking for an external solution. The solution is here. No, I'm not saying that you don't need to buy some organizational containers. That comes after. That comes after you declutter. Decluttering is removing what you don't need. So then you have a better idea of the quantity and the size of containers you need. Okay? I know this because when I went to help my 80-plus-year-old mother declutter her home, one of the things I noticed was, and especially paper for her, was this kind of doom box. This I got to buy a thing, or here's a tray, or here's a box, or here's a shelving unit, or here's a storage unit, and I just need to put my stuff in it. But then those things max out, or you don't know how to set them up well. And so what I ended up doing was dumping stuff out of the containers, sorting through the stuff, and then seriously, she's got a basement full of containers. They're not mine, so I did not, declutter them and give them away. They're not mine. But what I did was I put them down the basement, and I said, if you need them, they are there, but you really don't need as many things. And sometimes I will share with you from my own perspective too. Seriously, yesterday, putting stuff to the Goodwill. Too many containers can make the problem worse. Yes, because then you have to make a decision of which container to use. The fewer containers, the simpler it is. So I yesterday donated like a milk crate, a little bucket, something else to put something in. Because the fewer of them I have, I just have to make fewer decisions. These things go in this place because it's the only place to be. Okay? And I need help with organizers. I learned how to fold clothes and the fabric bins help. Cool. I'm a bad folder. I don't really care. Trust me, I may go to my grave never having a fitted sheet look good to somebody else in my closet. I don't care. Actually, you know what I just remembered? I bought some of those, and I did this because I was sick of them looking messy, so I did buy some of those Velcro things that I saw probably here on TikTok to also contain our sheet sets, because we have very few, but they're white, and I didn't want to get them mixed up. So I buy containers, but they are not to solve my decluttering. They are to solve my storage problem. They are to make my storage easier. Reblexa, if you want to fold a fitted sheet, I love it. The fact that you conquered that skill, you go for it. It's not as important to me. I'm good enough. What's your good enough? My good enough for certain things are as good enough. So notice these things, you guys. I'm not perfect, and neither are you. That's good, because perfection is like a wolf in sheep's clothing. Perfection stops you from even starting Because if it's not going to be perfect, I'm not going to do it. Nothing is ever perfect. We are human. We live in an imperfect world. Make the best of what you have, but don't let that aspirational perfection get in your way. Move it aside and say, I'm going for better. Or how about, you know what? I'm cool with certain ways that I do things. I am a decluttering life coach. I get paid to help people declutter their lives. But if you go in my house and you went like this, you'd probably find, you definitely would find some dust. Because it doesn't matter to me as much as me spending my time. Now, if, like, I will go around and do a dust in a sweep because we're having some people over this week. That's why I'm not going to do some TikTok lives for a couple of days. Those of you on the mailing list know because I sent out the schedule. I will sometimes do things for other people that I'm like, I don't need to do it myself. But the core look, feel, and function of my house is a chef's kiss to me and my husband because we live here all the time. And when it looks good and feels good to us and functions well, then it will for other people. Sure, we zhuzh it up a little bit when people come over because we want them to not be sneezing and dusty, you know? But doing it for yourself first. Living in your home. External eyes can give you kind of, you kind of wake up from stuff blindness. Whoa. Like I'm looking around going, gosh, we have a lot of chairs on this patio. Because my husband brought out an extra one and that one got stacked. And what's a quantity of chairs? This quantity feels too wrong for me. I'm going to take 2 of them in there. I'm going to replace that one. I'm going to reduce the amount of chairs. Just by 1 or 2, it will feel better to me. It will look better to me. I was a visual merchandiser and a photographer and an art history major. I am visually so well attuned. But for decades, I could make a place look good on the exterior, but do not go into that other room. Do not go in the basement. Do not open that door to that closet because I've shoved stuff into it because that's how I was taught to deal with things. I didn't know how to deal with the stuff, so I shoved it away. I then learned different things. I learned stuff about life coaching, about decluttering, and there's a coordination between them, you know? Yeah, I'm not perfect, but I'm perfect for you. Who is that? Grace Jones? Grace Slick? Grace Jones. I always get them confused. Only because Grace Jones, to me, looks very slick. What is your definition? And I even just don't like to say perfect. I say perfect sometimes where I'm like, yes. But, good, awesome, better, way to go. But perfect is also not sustainable. Anybody ever lost weight and kept it that exact same weight every single day of your life? Doesn't work. It goes boop, 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 boop. For me, perfection is for machines, and even machines break down, and we are not machines. So there's going to be a varied variety of things. Okay? You know what? There we go. Yeah. There we go. All right. Grooving with the times. Good morning, Beth. One of your biggest aha moments from coaching. I don't have to rush. Yeah. No. Seriously? Move at a pace that feels good to you. Think about the pace of life you have on a Saturday versus the pace of life you have on a early, busy Monday morning. Moving at a pace that feels good to you allows you to feel safety in your nervous system. I know that's kind of coachy, but what I want to say is when it feels good, it feels good. Think of it on a road trip. Do you want to be zooming 75 miles an hour the entire time down the fast road? You just get there, and you can't look out the window because you're afraid you're going to crash and you have to be aware. Freaking exhausting. It's not a good way to drive. But also, do you want to be on the slow lane, going so slow, you're afraid. Again, you're afraid. Never get there. Oh my gosh, it's going to take forever, but I'm afraid to go forward. No. How about finding a cruising speed that feels good to you? That you can be making forward progress. Again, think of it as a road trip. You can make forward progress, but you're not going so fast that you can't enjoy what you observe things and enjoy the stuff as it passes by. To be able to say, I'm making good progress, I'm going to pull over here and I'm going to hang out. Like today, I am going to hang out. I got 10 minutes. I heard my husband just wake up. I'm going to take off my robe, put on my sneakers. We're going to walk down to the farmer's market. I'm going to buy some flowers. We might go to a friend's house and check out their umbrella. I might buy a coffee, actually a tea, I don't drink. He might buy a coffee. We're going to walk home. I then do yoga. Then I have to shower. Then I have to go get my driver's license renewed because it expires soon. So I got to put a lot of makeup on my face because I'm aged since the last time I had the picture taken. And then this afternoon, the world is my oyster. Because I don't have to be like, and then I have to go do a lot of stuff. This pace of life to me is delicious. Think about when you retire from your job. One of the things you think is, this is a good insight, being able to do what you want, when you want, for as long as you want. Now, to me, that is richness beyond any Lamborghini or place in the Hamptons or jewelry or any of that stuff. Having control over your time and feeling good about the decisions you're making, about what you do and when you do it and how you feel when you do it, and doing more when it feels good and saying no when it doesn't. That's what decluttering helps you figure out, is paying attention to what makes you feel good and what doesn't make you feel good, doing more of the, adding more of the feels good into your life by decreasing the amount of what doesn't feel good. And that is what decluttering is. Decluttering is removing the stuff that doesn't work, so then you have space. And then you can decide what you put in that space. You decide what you do with that time. You decide what you do with that empty wall, with that room that suddenly you can breathe in. And it may be a bit echoey because it doesn't have the crap in it like it used to be. I'm thinking of the room I use as my office. You then have that blank slate, that clear canvas, and you get to paint the picture. And you get to design the life you want. Some people are scared by that. I think it's kind of cool. But even if you're like, I don't even know, if you are curious about it and you want to move forward, that's what coaching helps you with. Some people don't even want to do that. They're going to be like blaming, complaining, somebody else. Other people want to get in, but you get into the pool through the shallow end. You wade in and get comfortable. And then you get deeper and deeper. At a certain point in water, or the ocean, for example, some people don't even want to go in. Other points, you get out past the waves, and then you can walk out, and it's kind of calm, but you get deeper and deeper. And then when you know you can float, that to me, that floating is that aha moment. Say, oh, I can be this deep and still do things. And I can go from the deep end, and I'm not going to drown, and I can get back to the thing. And I can determine how I feel about this because I know I'm not going to drown. Yeah, I love it. Barbara's saying then I have today for me, but I'm saying next I will. Notice the thought that the words you use in your head make you feel a different way. So pay attention to the words you use in your head. Grooving with the Time says, seriously, hire Beth as your coach. Yeah, and putting it this way is very artistic. I'm artsy. I'm not artistic. I am not a good creator of, I don't draw well. The fine arts were not so fine to me, but I am an artistic, creative thinker, and my life is my artistic expression. Seriously. The way my home looks, the relationships I have with my people, the stuff I buy, the stuff I don't buy, the food I eat, the pictures I take, the places I go, the words I use, the ideas that my brain comes up with that I share in my own wacky way by, singing songs and hanging out in my pajamas, basically. My life is my creative expression, and it feels awesome. I don't need to be painting paintings to consider myself a creative person. Neither should you. And this is what our brains were meant to do. We make machines. Here's a really interesting thing. And this is, I don't even know where I'm going to go with this, but I trust my brain to go somewhere good. The creation of machines was made to make our lives easier. What do I mean by easier? It's by outsourcing, by offloading the things that we don't have to do anymore physically, so ostensibly that we are left with time to do the things only our brains can do. Only we can do as individuals. And that's our brain and what we do to create and problem solve, and to me, make the world a better place for you and me. We are the world. But notice how sometimes the machines just make things even more difficult, that you don't give yourself the time to create. I love giving my brain the space and the pace to come up with the things that I talk to you guys about. Everything I say is extemporaneous. I don't have this scripted. Scripted me sounds really stilted. But this is just the way I want to share with you, that you can look at things from a different perspective. When you see something head on like you have been, you see it one way, but you turn to the side, maybe you realize it's just a facade. When you look at underneath, oh look, that's kind of, that foundation is kind of crumbly. When you look at it from above, you realize it's so smidgy. Doesn't even matter. This is how I coach. I like to go deeper into stuff because it's not just about the superficial plastic containers with perfectly rolled things and 87 bottles of this because it's fronting and facing. Oh my gosh, I don't know if you guys have seen this trend about people freaking decorating the insides of their refrigerators. If that is your creative expression, I'm not shitting on that. But what I will say is, when we see that and now we think, oh great, now I also have to bougie up the internal, my internal Frigidaire. Maud Betty ain't got time for that. I want to go out and play. Nobody's going to see the insides of my fridge unless I do a video of it. Have you seen the videos where people who have so much money are being like, I don't know what to do. I guess I'll make fancy ice cubes. I follow that guy who's like, you're a povo. I'm rich, you're poor. If I had that money and that time, I would be doing different things with it. I have my money and my time. I do things I want with it. To me, that's rich. I have a pittance of money compared to some other people, but you know what I have? I have a life I love. I have happiness. And I have something I want to share with you so you can feel that way too. Exactly. Ain't nobody got time for that. Yeah. Heather G., what's your advice for buying things because you are trying to fill a void in your life? Don't avoid the void. How's that for a little snappy saying that I just made up? Don't avoid the void. I did this for years. I remember writing to somebody how all the ice cream in the world could not fix the hole in my soul. Yes, I grew up listening to the Smiths, okay? But I was in a really unhappy place in my life, and I kept on thinking that if I buy more things, if I go out and take a trip, if I eat this ice cream, all this external stuff would fill that hole. No, you know what it was? It's kind of noticing what it was and healing it so I didn't feel that void. Some people I know are like, I think of this, where then you can stop. It's almost like a bathtub. Think of the void that you're trying to fill as a bathtub that you're trying to fill, and the drain is open. You will never fill the tub unless you learn how to close the drain. Once you close the drain, once you heal that opening, then you can start to fill your life, but only fill it until it feels right. Anything more than that's going to spill over the tub. It can be scary to look inside, especially if we live in an external, outgoing, looksist world. It is so much more gratifying and satisfying and long-lasting and sustainable and good that I am showing up here without makeup, still in my pajamas, greasy, with rolls in my belly, hair on my face, in my 50s. I wouldn't do this if I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin. And I've decluttered a lot of what's in me, and then when I do that, I see this stuff, I'm like, oh, that works, I like that. Nope, write them up to me, looks good, perfect, let's go have some fun. Okay? So Candace Burkett Galley is saying, good morning, I need your voice in my head every day. This is also what I teach. I give it a minute, because then I'm going to go have a fun day. I hope you do too. If this is new to you and you're like, oh crap, this sounded like really cool, but she's going off. This is just a live. This is not Memorex. But I have over 200 free TikTok lives that I've recorded that you can watch. You can pop one in and listen to it like a podcast on my Destination Decluttered YouTube channel. I also do shorter form videos here on TikTok. So follow me wherever the stuff that I offer is finding useful. I think the really cool place to be is if you're not one of my one-on-one clients. I love that the most. But also if you're on my mailing list, DestinationDecluttered.com/join. As I mentioned during this today, but I just want to make it before I sign off. If you struggle with paper clutter, tomorrow I'm doing a free 1-hour Zoom pencil party. See, I'm going to say it again. Pizza party. No. Paper party. We're going to get together with our piles of paper on Zoom. We all sign on at a certain time. I'm going to give you some instruction. Then we shut off our cameras. We mute ourselves. We do it for like 15 minutes and we turn it back on. Then we say, how are you doing? Any questions? Anybody struggling? Let's clarify it. Let's go back in and do it again. Then another 15. Then this. In an hour tomorrow, by 3 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, you could have a process in place to say, I know what to do with my paper now, and you will have physical evidence that it works because you've done it yourself. Now, I will say this. Tomorrow's is going to be free because I've never done it before. If it works and people like it, I'm going to charge a little bit of money for it, like $10 or something, like nothing crazy. Because when you have money, when you have skin in the game, you're more likely to show up. Okay? So I have to run. Okay. So I could talk here all day, as could you, but you know what I want us to do? I want us to get off of the interwebs, and I want us to go live in the 3D world. I'm going to do that. I have some wonderful plans. Write down what you want to do today. Fun stuff, decluttering, write it down and get it done. Okay? And I will see some of you tomorrow on the at the paper party. People on the mailing list, I sent out when I'm going to be on TikTok for the next 2 weeks. Also, if you want me as your coach, destinationdecluttered.com. There's a link there that says work with me. See if there's any consultation slots available on my calendar. First dibs. There aren't a lot of them in the next 2 weeks, and then I travel. So if you want me as your coach this summer, it starts with a consultation. destinationdecluttered.com. My name is Beth. I'm going to put my flip-flops on, go kiss my husband, and then we're going to walk down the farmer's market, okay? I'll see you later. Bye.